from the era, like, if you had on a suit and hard bottoms, you was a square ass nigga. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
that's how I was raised. But,
Yeah.
get older and evolve and start dressing age appropriate, I stopped feeling that way because I'm looking. And then, some old cat came up to me years ago and was like, Bo, you a funny dude, like you can sing. And he was like, you sharp, you well groomed. He was like, man, once you start putting on suits and shit, he was like, you gonna kill it. And he was like, and me as an older cat, I appreciate seeing a brother on stage sharp. He was like, and a lot
Right.
of older people feel the same way I do. When we pay $30 for a show, we want to be entertained, and we don't want to see a motherfucker in a hoodie or something like that.
Right.
So, and I listen. I've always listened to older people, coming up. And that's why I got so much, knowledge that I probably shouldn't have at my age because I listen, and the older cats in my, I used to go to the bootlegger house and hang out with all those longshoremen and drink liquor with them. And I had my head on right. And the cats my age were still stupid. And, they didn't want them around, but they'd be like, yo, tell them young niggas to stay out the house. They didn't look at me as a young nigga because I didn't act that way. So I
Right.
just laid around. I just, sat around them and drank, Canadian Mist and gin and shit and soaked up everything that I possibly could. And that's what
Yeah.
made me wise beyond my years.
And that's a good thing, man. It's always good to see growth with any industry.
Word.
Like if you start like with Heavy started with the hip hop clothes, but he also wore suits every now and then. So
Hev
when he put on a
was my
suit,
guy. Hev was my
he
guy. Like, bruh, I just had this conversation the other day, man, with I don't know if it was on Twitter or somewhere, but I've always loved the White Myers. You know what I mean? Like Heavy D was my
yeah,
dude because he was a big guy, and at one time in my life I was 300 and some change. So I always look. I was like, man, he be fly. He be wearing yellow and shit. Like he ain't afraid to take no chances.
right,
He'll put on anything and just be out there dancing and steal your broad. Like he one of them dudes.
yep, yep,
So, and he wears suits and all that. So, but I just had this conversation the other day, man. One of my favorite albums of all time that's been slept on. Just it's almost it's just ridiculous how slept on Blue Funk was. Like that's like
yes,
the dopest albums I have ever heard, and I still listen to it at least once a month because the
yes,
production on that, the rhymes, the horns, like Pete Rock blew the horns, the whole album,
yep.
Primo, like it was just man,
Primo
come on, man, like the cuts on that joint, man, look,
they
get
hit
out of
hard
here.
and
That's one
like
of the hardest
everything.
albums, and you would not expect that coming from Heavy D. That's one of the
No,
hardest hip hop albums ever.
and he had like superb production on that album.
Woo,
From
man.
everything from the beats to the background
Oh my
vocals,
God. Here comes the
like that
house. You
album.
know what makes you sick? That Primo joint. Oh my God. That's one of the
Yeah,
hardest Primo tracks I've ever heard.
yes,
A New
Primo.
Day. Oh, come
And
on, man.
and that's so dope because they were so used to have making light music. So
Yes.
when he came
Yes.
with the
He went
hardcore hip hop,
hard the whole
he
album.
came hard. Yeah.
That Pete Rock, that New Day, that yeah, nah, 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 nah. Come on. Boom, 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 boom. I used to play that back in the
Yeah.
day. That joint was hard.
Yep.
Oh, that's one of the
Yep.
hardest. The joint where he was rapping about his brother getting shot and killed and all that.
Yep.
Man, Head was hard. That album was hard.
Yeah.
Anybody in this room
Have
right now listening to this IG live, I highly suggest you give Blue Funk a
you
spin because that's
gotta get
one
Blue
of the
Funk.
dopest albums I've ever heard. I'm not even saying that because I'm
Absolutely.
on with Uptown Records. It just so happens the joint is up there.
It is. It is. And like when you talk to different people from like all over, they all say the same thing. It's a lot of people. Their favorite album is Blue Funk. They favorite Have album is Blue Funk.
Definitely. Definitely.
That's facts.
And
And
you gotta look at just some of the B-side cuts or just singles, the no cursing joint. And
the Don't Curse, yeah. To
what
get
was the
all
joint?
them
You're
MCs,
blind, baby. You're blind to the
you're
fact.
blind,
That
but
joint.
you
Oh,
can't
come
see
on,
what
man.
I can see. Yeah.
He has some of
And
the
then
hardest records for him to be, like your grandmother's favorite MC because,
right,
Yo, grandmas used to look at Heavy D and be like, look at that big boy dance. You know, that man, come
They
on, man.
loved them.
Your grandma loved Heavy D.
They
And for
loved
them to
them.
be that hard and to flip it on like some reggae and come on, man. Hev is one of the greatest artists, hip hop artists to ever live. And I will forever give him his flowers.
Yes. And then the posse cut, the Don't Curse, when he got all of those MCs together and they just flowed one by one, like that was just
Don't
genius.
Curse was my joint. And
Yeah.
You're Blind Baby. Oh man, that joint was hard.
Yeah, Hev was the man. And Hev was he was able to reach a different demographic when he put a suit on. People
Yep.
looked at him different. He got a whole new crew when he put a suit on. People started paying attention from other genres that didn't even respect hip hop.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because at that time, hip hop was like, everybody they was afraid of it. But he had those fun joints. Like him, Teddy Riley had those beats.
I'll Be Sure.
Dancing, I'll Be Sure, Eddie F.
Yeah, I hated that because, you know, back in them days, they used to call me I'll Be Sure when I was in junior high school. I got the I'll Be Sure and, you know, the Christopher Williams shit, which, you know, I really resented the Christopher Williams because I'm just like, come on, man, I don't look nothing like him. I'm just light skinned with curly hair.
You just light skinned.
The I'll Be shit, I kind of saw that a little bit. And, you know,
Yeah.
I got MC Search. I got that a lot. And I got True Goy the Dove. Like, they called me every motherfucker that was on TV.
That was light skinned. That's how it was, man. I'll Be Sure was like the light skinned ambassador. Like, if you was light skinned and had black hair, you look like I'll Be Sure automatically.
That's why
the way it was.
Denim outfits. I didn't wear no denim suits or none of that shit because I didn't want to be compared to Al B.
I did. You know what? I remember I begged my mama for that denim fit, and
yo, that was inside.
Yeah, I was like, I gotta have this denim fit because I'll Be Sure got it, and I'm like, everybody love I'll Be Sure.
Yeah,
man, she got me that denim fit. I went to school. You couldn't tell me shit. Had my British Knights on, just fly. You could tell me nothing. I'll Be Sure.
I got back on the denim once it came back. You know what I mean? Like when it came back in 01 or something like that. You know, when they came with the Willie Esco joints and all the different, and Nietzsche and Mecca, when everybody had a denim suit and Durangos. Like I don't know if y'all had wore Durangos up north, but I know in Virginia, like Durango boots. You know, that's when I came back with the denim. But I refused to wear it when I'll Be Sure was wearing it.
Oh, yeah, the denim, it came back hard. People started tie-dyeing again, bleaching the joints up, ripping them up. Like, I still got some of them. So I hold on to all of that.
Yeah.
So, and you know, with fashion, it come back around anyway. Like,
always.
Everything we did back in the day is hot now. So it's like cross colors, the 90s look, everybody vibing out to that now.
Be hasty. Cross colors.
Cross colors, yeah, cross colors coming back. Matter of fact, I saw a documentary where it was a designer who included cross colors in his runway show. Like
a new
in 2019. Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Why not give it a shot? You know, because Carl Kanai came back a few times and tried to come back, and you know, a few joints tried to make an emergence for a little while, and they just faded back off. I don't know what it is, but everything seems to come back when, you know, 20, 30 years later, and you try to bring it back before then, you know, nobody wants to hop on the bus with you.
Right. Just like MCM, like back in the day when Dapper Dan did the MCM, it was fresh, new, and hot.
Dan's back now. Like people.
Yeah, Dapper Dan came back so hard, and I was like, you know, I was excited.
Bad man, woo.
Yeah,
when
Dapper Dan was the man.
With them joints on.
Yeah.
Ropes and shit. That was something that I was like, I got to have one of them.
That's it. When I seen you with the MCM bag, I'm like, this man means business.
MCM except for a couple joints. Like I still fuck with MCM, man. I mean, they started making cheaper now. Like it's not the, you know, a lot of that shit is made in China now. Like it's different, the quality and all that. But you know, I mean, they still fly. A lot of them new MC
Yeah.
bags because they just making all these outlandish colors and shit now. It's not like the traditional, cognac with the black lettering, you know,
Yeah.
or just the all black. It's no more of that. Like it's bright red and orange and blue and shit. So,
Yeah. And
everybody
sometimes,
goes to outside sources now to get their stuff made.
yeah, it's hard to find the original cognac. Like
Very,
it's
very
like
hard.
hard,
And
but they
some
had the
of that leather
blues.
was hard as shit, man. Like
Yeah.
that leather wouldn't even bend damn near.
Nope. Nope. That's why it was perfect for luggage and
Yep.
bags because
Yep.
it was durable.
It wouldn't tear.
Like,
That was thick, man.
and that's so dope though to see it come back. And I saw you with the MCM bag. I was like, man, he mean business, man. Like he got MCM bags every time he traveled.
I got a lot of them joints. But I mean, look who I travel with, man. Like DL be having some shit, man. So I found myself a little while, for a spur. Like I'm just like competing with this dude, even though he ain't paying me no attention because his bread is way longer than mine. But I was in competition. I was like, man, I got to outshine this motherfucker because he was sharp.
Yeah.
So I remember one time I actually said that. I was like, I showed him a picture of a substantial suit that I just purchased, and I'm like, yo, I'm gonna wear this, Saturday, and I'm gonna kill it, you know. So
Yeah.
he comes back out. He comes back on that same day with a suit. Like I'm just like, you motherfucker, like it. You can't compete with somebody bred that long, man. So
Right.
it is what it is. But I was silently competing with this nigga in my head for a couple years. But I concede. But hey, man, I'm 6'4", 260, man. So for a big dude, you know, I ain't no little guy like DL, like 5'8" or something like that. Like you see a sharp dressed little dude, like he can stand on a wedding cake. Me,
Right.
I'm a big nigga. Like I got presence. When I walk in, I got the big nigga presence. So
Yeah.
everybody look at a big sharp dude and be like, damn, he's sharp.
Yeah.
So I got that advantage.
Yep. And they want to know who that is, what he do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's part of the package, man. You gotta
For
you
sure.
I tell everybody like they always DM me talking about listen to this track, can you hook me up with a producer and stuff like that. And I'll go to their page and I'm like, you gotta have something about you that stands out to make people
Always.
want to listen to you. Even
Yeah.
before you open your mouth. It's just
Yeah.
it's just something you gotta have that it factor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
With anything.
And with anything.
With anything.
And when you doing anything on stage, definitely gotta have it. Because some crowds will take one look at you. It's just not like you, just because they don't
Automatic.
like what they see.
Yep, out the gate. They just be like, they'll tune you out right away. And
Yeah.
I've been saying that for years. People right now will look at, you know, a video where it builds up to a fight, and they'll watch the video for 3 minutes until they start throwing hands.
Yeah.
But a comedian, they give you 15 seconds, and by the 16th second, they're like, he's the worst comedian I've ever heard in my life. And they'll just cut you off. They won't even give you a second. It's unfair, but it is what it is. You got to have something that pops right away, man. So, and I
Yeah.
never look for that. I never look like I got to find something that's going to make me stand out. I had it the whole time and maybe wasn't using it to my advantage. But,
Yeah.
after being told over and over and over again that there's something about you, and, you kind of grasp that and run with it. And if you don't, you're just a fool. And
Yeah.
that's another thing we just touched on. It's got to be something about you that pops with everything. Chris Benoit is one of the greatest wrestlers to ever put on boots, but his
Yep.
personality was awful, and
Yep.
he missed out on a lot of bread from not being able to grab that mic and have mic skills like The Rock or Stone Cold. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
them guys like that, they got something about them that's just magical when they grab the mic and everybody want to listen and become a follower. If you ain't got that, you're just
Right.
going to be average. And Chris Benoit could beat any of their asses, honestly, because he was a
Yeah.
wrestler. But his personality was a fucking airport turkey sandwich.
Yeah. Exactly.
Gotta
And
have
that's
something
that,
about you.
that you do. And like even when they talk about you know how they put all females that do anything, especially black females, they put them all in the same category. Well, who's your favorite female rapper? Or who's
Right.
your favorite female comedian?
Hmm.
And anytime somebody asks you that, I always say some more, and I always say the
So what was
reason why I say some more is because I I was paying attention to comedy at that Def Comedy Jam time,
right?
and some more to me stood out, even though a lot of people don't like the content, her unfiltered content.
Samoa's dope.
Like
Always been.
like when you see her when she come out on stage, whatever the fuck she finna say, you just want to hear what she gotta say, cause she presents herself in a certain way.
And
And
Samoa's one of the first female comics that I paid attention to when I got into the game
right,
because she was already dope. You know,
yeah,
I remember Samoa. This is how when I first met Samoa was '94, and you know she was selling her 8x10s and donating the money to like Lupus. I believe it was Lupus. That's how long ago that's been. Like it's been almost 30
wow,
years.
yeah,
And Samoa was just a pretty little piece of chocolate, man. And she was
yep,
fly as hell. You know what I mean? So
fly, yep,
Samoa is the dopest female comedian, point blank, as far as I'm concerned. But my favorite female comedian, and she's not that fond of me. Well, maybe she wasn't that weekend because she kicked me off the show. But Cheryl Underwood has always done it for me, man. Because
oh yeah,
Cheryl go hard like a dude,
yep,
and she can talk about more than sucking dick and a
right,
lot of just female topics. She can go from sucking dick to talking politics,
yep,
and for me that's refreshing to be well rounded like that. I've always had nothing but respect for Cheryl Underwood. She's always been my favorite. But Samoa's the dopest female comedian.
yeah.
When you go to a Cheryl Underwood, I mean a Samoa comedy show, women get their hair done, they get outfits and shit. They put on their
Yep,
best because they know
they
Samoa's
best.
fly as shit. It's an event.
Right,
Man.
right. And with Cheryl, I paid attention to that, to her stand up like around 90, I want to say 92 or 93 the first time I saw her on Comic View.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that stood out about her was like she was on stage with a purse.
Yeah.
And she used to always bring a purse on stage.
Oh,
And one time she said the reason why. And she said, you know, they be stealing shit in the back and I don't want nobody taking my shit. And I was like, that's just keeping it so real. And it made her stand out. You know, that authenticity again. You know what I'm saying? And one thing Andre Harrell always said to different people, like, you got to find out what makes you stand out, what makes you you,
yeah.
and capitalize off that.
And that was her thing.
Because
Her purse was
if
her
you
thing.
believe it, if that's you, that's who you are. Other people will see that and they'll gravitate toward it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Cheryl Underwood, she's a beast, and she's from Chicago. So
B.
she my girl. I'm a Chicagoan, and I always ride with Cheryl.
Yeah, I thought Cheryl was from Little Rock, Arkansas, but I think she moved to
Well,
Chicago.
she
Right.
was, but she lived in Chicago at some point in her life, a
She a
while,
Midwest
for a
girl. She a
while.
Midwest girl, no doubt.
Yeah. So what like what are your feelings about doing podcasts now? Like in the future, do you have any plans to have your own little situation on your own platform, or somebody, are you gonna hook up with somebody else, or how do you feel about doing podcasts?
Man, I podcasts like I tend to and I'm gonna sit here and say this, and I hope I don't get chastised for it or people stop following me. But I've never watched an episode of Power because yeah, I know. Whatever people whatever people think is hot and they keep talking about it over and over and over again, this is hot, you got to see. I'm not gonna look at it. Like
Yeah,
whatever's hot, I tend to go in the opposite direction. And when something insists upon itself, I'm definitely not going to take a look. So
yeah,
Podcasts, I think I may have missed out on that, but me and this guy from my area, well, he's from Philly, but he moved to Virginia years ago. We did a little radio thing together. We had a podcast before a podcast. It was something called Hate Night News that we did. HNN, where hate happens. And, we did that, man. Like, when we look back in retrospect, we'd be like, man, we had a podcast before everybody else had a podcast. I mean, the dude Charlemagne used to call into our show before he got on and be like, he used to be like, yo, y'all shit is dope, And essentially, that's what he's doing. The Breakfast Club. Like, he's doing his own little version of Hate Night News. And am I mad about that? Yeah, I'm fucking mad because he's a millionaire, you know what I mean? And our shit was just locally, and it didn't grow like it should have. It's well respected. It's an urban legend, it's legendary. Everybody be like, Hate Night News, everybody still talk about it, but it didn't materialize, and people have come to me a lot and be like, yo, you need to get a podcast, and every damn comedian got a fucking podcast. So it makes me not want to do it.
Yeah.
I got a chance to go on Joe Budden podcast a couple of years ago when he had never, I don't think he had ever, I might be mistaken, but I don't think he had ever had a guest. Like, he didn't do guests.
Right.
Him and his boys. It was just him, Mal, and Rory. And Joe took a liking to me on Twitter because I say stupid shit where I used to. Once Twitter came around, man, and I wanted to get away from Facebook, I went on Twitter and just unleashed a lot of bullshit that I need to go back and scrub. But I remember one day, like in 2010, it has to have been 10 years ago, some chick that know Joe, like know him, she added him and was like, yo, follow this dude because he's hilarious and he's an asshole just like you. I still remember the tweet. And Joe started following me right away. And I'm just like, who the hell is she? You know what I mean? To make him, that he would take her word and start following me. So he started following me and retweeting me, and I started building my following a lot off of that because people started following me. And one day I went up to New York to do a show at Caroline's, and it was like when he broke his leg, and I told him I was coming up to Caroline's to do a show. He sits right up front, crutches and everything, like with Rory. I don't know if Mal was with him, but he had like a crew of people. Like, I was like, fuck, he got that much respect based off my tweets that he'll watch me do my thing live. You know what I mean? And Joe's very meticulous. Like, he don't fuck with a lot of people. So, just that let me know that I was like, damn, I'm a lot further ahead than what I think I am, because I think at that time I was a little bit bitter about me not propelling to, a stage where I feel like I should have been. I felt like I should have been a lot further ahead, which we all should think that, or we're not trying. But, for him to come out there and sit front row and watch me and then invite me on his podcast, that was like the dope. When I did his podcast, he was still doing it like in a little office building. Like, it wasn't the Spotify giant and all that. Like, it was just like in this little office, you know what I mean? Like eating pizza and shit. And we did the podcast. I didn't realize how dope what I was doing was at that point. Like, I just kind of took it in and was like, oh, this is tight. You know what I mean? But I remember when I did the podcast, like, my phone blew up and people, dudes that I haven't heard from in 10 years, like, how the fuck did you get on Joe podcast? Like, he don't do guests. Like, I didn't know that. But like, the episode was so dope. I got so many followers, based on that. People was like, who is this Bo guy? Like, he was funny. And I just started getting followers, and, Joe started doing this little show at this theater and like in Manhattan, and he let me host it a couple times. And, the first time I went up there, I killed it. Like, I linked up with Matt Wiles, like he was in the audience. And just like, I was getting that platform that I was eagerly seeking, And I don't know why, things happen. Like, Joe ended up having a kid and life happened. And we just really haven't linked that much. I think I went to one of his pool parties, and that was extra dope. But, he had a kid and all that, and life just happened, and we had the link. But you know, he came to see me last year when I went back up there. Like I still have a. It's just you know, I've never had that. You know, I'm prepared, but I just haven't had that opportunity that I need to put me into that next stratosphere. But
Yeah,
trust me, once it presents itself, I'm there. Like it's not even anything holding me back at all, except for that, except opportunity.
yeah. And you know, timing is everything.
Yeah, of course.
And often sometimes we don't even realize the impact that we have. We don't realize who's watching us. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
It could be so like it could be a show that you did a long like many years ago that somebody will remember and
right.
they get in a new situation and they be like, I'm
Reach
finna go
out to
holler at him. You know
you.
what I'm saying? It be like that sometimes, but timing is everything. And I used to be the same, but I used to be like, I still like that. Like, why is it taking me so long to build followers? Like, why is Uptown not at 80 followers? You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right,
Like, 80,000 followers. Like, I used to be like that all the time, but this one lady I was talking to, and she told me not to be concerned with how many followers I have, like or you have. It's like who's following you. Like pay
right,
attention to who's following you. You know what
right.
I'm saying? Because that can
Exactly.
lead to something bigger. And I'm like, well, shit, she got a point. So, but you know, sometimes we get in that headspace where we be like, well, I've been doing this for this amount of time, and I'm not getting where I
Right.
want to be. And
Instead
that's
of
kind of like,
trusting God's timing, you know, we let the enemy get in our head and start creating doubt,
yeah,
and a lot of other things, and you know, we're all guilty of that, man. You know, but
yeah.
as you get older and you've been through that a lot, you start to recognize right away what it is, and you know, once you can identify that that's what it is, then you get completely out of that headspace and you can overcome that. But if not, man, it can put you in a tailspin. Like it can put you in a deep depression. And I've been,
Yeah,
I mean, not being where you know. I mean, man, once you look at all the slow runners jog right past you, that's deflating, man. Like it's nothing worse,
yeah,
especially when you dope at what you do. Like
exactly.
it's
Yeah,
like I run circles around these dudes. You know what I mean? Like, and everybody knows that, but everybody that knows that they can't do shit for you except tell you that, and
right.
that makes it even worse. Like, especially,
Yeah,
I'm not one of these guys that needs my ego stroked. I don't even
right,
have an ego no more. I just know when I grab the mic, I'm a killer. You know what I mean? Like
right,
when I get on that stage, that's my arena, and it ain't many people that can sit at the table with me, famous or not famous. And
right.
I know that
Exactly.
everybody that knows me knows that. So it goes without saying. So all I can do is focus on keep becoming an animal, keep delivering, you know, keep getting these standing ovations, man, and until I can't be denied no more. You know, once you get in that
Yeah,
mind frame, it's like, man, look, they can't keep me out for so long. Somebody gonna look and be like, why is this guy not on my show? You know what I mean? Like as long as you keep chipping away, man, something's bound to fall.